Yo, what's up, guys? Mike Red Fox. Gonna try to do all this in one take. Just a walkthrough and an update of all of the stuff that I've been working on. You can see this rig is now empty. I'll give you an update on that. Got some of the mini ASICs on the floor with their boxes. Just continuing to work through all of this stuff in piles on the desk, on the shelves, just everywhere. But I gotta start with, man, this week I hit burnout mode and it was not fun. And it was just fueled by being so overwhelmed with trying to figure out how I was going to do all of this and how I was going to find the time to do all of this. And when you look at what I'm trying to work through here, you know, we're talking hundreds of GPUs. This isn't even all of them. We got all the little ASICs all over the place, GPUs here, you know, GPUs there. If you've been watching the channel, this is nothing new. GPUs over there as well. This is nothing new. And it's go time, right? Because like this stuff needs to be sold. Not all of it. We'll talk about that later in this video. But the timing is really good right now because the pricing on used GPUs has gone up. It's amongst the best it's been in quite a while. So I want to be able to lock in that timing because I ultimately have capital tied up right here that's not making any money. And I can do things with that capital. By the way, look at all the boxes that I've just been saving because I know I'm going to need them to ship all these things. But capital is tied up and I want to offload that and get the most bang for my buck possible. But I also want to do it in a really thoughtful way. But yeah, more on that in a second. I'm going to be a little all over the place because my mind is all over the place. And so working a full-time job, making YouTube content, wanting to make more content, really feeling that fire in me after mining disrupt, and then ultimately getting to this week and being like, I don't know how I could possibly do all the things that I need to do. And what has to go? What do I have to sacrifice? It just got to a really, really challenging place. And so what I decided to do last night was go old school. You know, there was a time before YouTube that I was a cryptocurrency miner, and I did that for years before I ever picked up a camera to film the things that I'm doing. And so that's what I did last night. Typically, I would live stream or make a video, and I decided I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to come down here. I put on some live streams from people in the community in the background, and I just started working through taking apart this rig. I remember when I built it, that 16 series rig, there were 16 GPUs on there. Now they're on the desk, and I just started figuring out what my process is and what I was going to do here. And ultimately, what that was use the test bench right there. So I would take a GPU from this pile, throw one on the test bench, and make sure that video out worked. And I'd just put the fans on 100%, get real close, make sure those worked. And then that GPU would then move into this pile, and I would know that it worked, and it was tested, and it was ready to sell. And so that's my process, but that's a lot that I have to work through. I mean, you're talking doing that hundreds of times where I'm going to go from here to there, to there. And just the thought of even cleaning these, and they're fine, they work great, but you can see the pollen build up and just the dust in there. Just the thought of even adding another layer to that of cleaning them, I was just like, I don't even know if I could do that. It's just so much work. And so that's where I'm at right now with the GPUs. I got the 16 series being worked through, but I think the biggest thing I accomplished last night was getting the mini ASICs tested, and they all work. So I got the Doge ASICs, Cadena ASICs, even a Ethereum classic ASIC there. I got a couple more to work through as well. You can see I got the old school X41U on the bench there. But I got all these tested. They all work. And I just started to sort through, like, what are they worth? What do I even sell this for? And I was surprised to see, especially the Doge miners, like eBay is my baseline. Like, what are they selling for there? And even though those don't make money on like probably all residential electric rates, I was surprised to see they're selling for like $100 or hundreds of dollars on a lot of those mini ASICs, even all of these years later. So again, capital that's tied up that I could use to do something else with. And we'll talk more about that a little bit in this video. But so then I was like, okay, I got some GPUs tested. I got some ASICs tested. I got an idea of what I can sell them for. Like, how do I sell these? And this has been the most challenging part of all of this for me. My experience up until now has been using eBay to sell single GPUs. I sold 7 580s that way. and it worked fine. It was just a lot of trips back and forth to the post office or UPS to ship them all out. It's just like a lot to manage. When ultimately I would love to sell in bulk. I'd love for somebody to be like, I'll take 8 of those and I could ship them away, and like that would help me go through this a lot faster. So eBay is fine. I don't want to use Facebook Marketplace. I don't want to meet up with anybody. I really don't like the idea of that. And I've had people in the community reach out to me, which has been great, on Discord, on email, in comment sections, on Twitter, just saying like, hey, I'd actually, like when I've mentioned these things, I would buy that. Like, let me know when you're selling. I'm going to use it for X, Y, and Z. And that's been overwhelming to consider. How do I even manage all of that? It's been a lot. So ultimately, what I've decided on is that my first thing is I want to get the community the opportunity to pick up any of this stuff for really fair prices, like under eBay prices. I want to give that opportunity to the community. That would feel the best to me. And so what I've done, and it's not live yet, but this will be a preview if you've made it this far in the video. What I've done is I've created a web store on Shopify, and this is a little preview here. And I've listed some of the stuff that I've tested so far. And I've put prices on it right now. They could change. And this would be just like for the community to be able to come up here and buy it. And Shopify will figure out shipping and all of that. And like that's one place for me to manage and one place for me to advertise. Like, hey, I have this stuff. If you want it, you can buy it from me. And I think that feels a lot better. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do maybe bulk discounts on there too. If somebody wants to buy more than one GPU, maybe you get 5% off or 10% off or whatever it's going to be. But I'm going to start there. I'm going to start there. I'm going to get that website live. It's going to be a living, breathing thing, and I'm just going to add to it as I continue to get GPUs tested or things that I need to sell. So I think what I'm going to do first is throw it in my Discord. So if you're not in there already, the link will be down in the video description because that community is deep. That community goes way back many, many years. So I feel like that's the right thing to do, is to honor that kind of like loyalty throughout all of the crazy times in crypto mining. And then I'll probably expand it beyond there. But, right to start, I'm going to put on all these little mini ASIC miners and then put on some GPUs as I test them. But I also just have things that are just sitting around that like this is a good example. A sponsor sent me this years ago and I just never got to it. It's still sealed in box. I really have no use for this hardware wallet. It seems cool, but maybe I'll list that for like super cheap and somebody who needs a hardware wallet can buy it. And I'm going to have, risers and motherboards and there's just so many various things that I've just accumulated in all of this, even in the bins and boxes down there, even like YouTube gear and camera gear that I don't have a need for. Maybe somebody else will. I mean, we got A2000s like brand new in their box down there. If somebody wants those. Oh, even like all of the stuff from the Grow tent, I'm hanging on to AC Infinity fans. Just like, oh, maybe if I run an ASIC and I need to silence it, it would be useful. Like, I'm not going to run an ASIC in this house. I'm going to go get that thing hosted somewhere. And then once I do all of that, then I'm going to move on to the repair pile, which is just when a GPU is not working or it's in rough shape, it just has landed here for like 3 years. And I've just never gotten through any of this. But that'll be last. But first is just all of the stuff that I know works for mining. I just want to test that video out and make sure the fans are good. I know there's some GPUs that the fans are toast. And probably just sell that as is. I don't know if I'm going to go through and fix all that stuff. Probably not worth my time. So I feel a little bit better because I have like a game plan. I have the store set up. I have a way I'm going to do all of this. I have a process. I think that's why I felt so overwhelmed and burnt out, is because I was just I had a problem and I couldn't figure out how to solve that problem. The problem was I have all of this stuff. How am I going to test it? Where am I going to find the time? What has to go? And then ultimately, how am I going to sell all of this? So I think time, sacrificing other times I would use to make content and just do this stuff, balancing that out. And then the process I have is just using that time to test it, and then how I'm going to sell it. I'm going to throw it on my web store and throw it up for the community to buy. And ultimately, if it sits there for too long, I could just put it right on eBay, just like I have before. But I don't want to do that. That'll just be like, I need to get rid of this stuff, so I guess I'm going to use this instead. So quite a bit more to go through. And what I'm definitely going to do, though some people disagree with me, is I'm going to keep one of each card. This is a good example. That's one of every 30 series card on there. I have the same for 40 series. I'll have the same for 50 series. And then probably keep like a 6600, a 6600 XT, and then get rid of probably everything else. Definitely got to, I don't think I'm going to hold on to like the 5700 XTs and 5700s. And I think this one's like a mining specific GPU. Probably just get rid of all that stuff. And then what am I going to do with all of that capital is the question that I've been thinking about. And the first thing is I've already got some 170HXs on the way. So I'm going to fund that purchase with this stuff. So that's number one. So I'm not getting out of GPU mining, just getting more efficient GPUs. And then I've also fallen very in love with this card right here, which is the 5070. I've been testing extensively. It is doing so good. So I think I will build a rig of these if I can get those GPUs continue at MSRP and maybe have 170HXs and like an octo miner and then have an open air frame of 5070s. I think that would be a lot of fun to have those as my GPU mining rigs. So essentially going from, this down to that. And then still, not pictured here is all the other stuff, ASICs that I'm running in the garage right now. But that's the plan. And then with the rest of the capital, what I need to do is address like just my YouTube setup. And it's great, it works, but it's not super efficient. And there's things that I want to do, like, oh, hey, it's me. There's things that I want to do, like build a new streaming PC because this one's really suffering, and just have like a more efficient setup that's going to work better for me. But I need money to do that, and it's all just tied up right now in all of that stuff. So that's the goal. I feel better. I'm still going to try to get some content out, still going to try to do some live streams, but ultimately going to be using some of my time to start working through all of this and then throwing that up for all of you to give the opportunity to purchase if you want to, or you know somebody that needs it. I don't care if you're using it for mining, for gaming, whatever you want to do with it. It's all good. But let me know down in the comment section if you'd be interested in any purchasing of these GPUs, if there's something that you think is I'm thinking the right way about, even like these mini ASICs that, again, I was surprised going for what they're going for when they don't make any money. So, there's people out there that have free electric, that are using solar power. I guess that just are finding ways to use all these things. I think those are still a great entry into learning mining. So, I mean, yeah, this stuff's available, and then eventually I'll have all of these splitters and motherboards and power supplies and risers and just a ton of stuff to work through. So, yeah, let me know if any of that stuff would be interesting to you. Join my Discord if you want to get first dibs on the shop once it's live. And then, I'm just I really don't know what to expect. Once it goes live, is nobody going to buy anything, or is it going to be a really cool use of my time? So we'll see. But anyway, that's it. That's the update on this video. If you missed the last video of me moving all of this stuff out of the garage, I highly recommend that you take a look and just see everything in its entirety that I have to sort through. I'm going to leave that video on the screen right here. But otherwise, please take care of yourself and each other, and I'll see you in the next video.